So I'll start. Thanks, Randeep, for joining us. Um, I don't have to introduce myself, but I've been the trustee of CJ Memorial Trust for a while and interacting so much with you in so many in the last almost a year and a half since you've taken over. First and foremost, thanks very much to BBMP for all the magnificent work that you are doing to keep the city safe and also to make sure that you are supporting the animals in the city and animal lovers like myself and others who are really struggling in this very surreal time. So we have had some amazing things happen, and I'd like to quickly just mention that we've seen. I'd like you to talk a little bit about that, but I just know that what work has been done way and above your call of duty has been on the pet shops and trying to make sure that the dogs are safe, the pets are safe, as far as supporting feeders is concerned, as far as making sure that abandonment is reduced, and also creating being responsive to citizens in terms of what needs to be done on feeders and on food and on supplies and things that we are all struggling with. So getting things done as well as supporting the structure has been something that we really value. Yesterday you had issued a circular, Mr. Anil Kumar, our commissioner, and yourself, I know, with a lot of inputs which have made a lot of things much more easier and made our effort as caregivers much more potent, particularly on abandonment, on feeding, on support and food and water for the animals, etc. So the first thing is thank you so much, but I'd like to ask you, Randeep, as Special Commissioner for Animal Husbandry, specifically for BBMP, specifically for animal husbandry, in addition to your duties as Special Commissioner, Madhipura, solid waste management. I don't know how many portfolios you manage, and you still give time to us and listen so hard to what we have to say. So your thoughts, in response to what I've been saying on this very, very difficult time of the lockdown and the stress that it's put on the animals of the city.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you for those kind words. I think the time for credit, I think, should wait. We still are in the thick of things, and we need to be out there delivering. Thanks to the larger community of animal lovers also for pushing us as a team to deliver what many of our officers also felt is a bit out of their league, probably something which goes beyond their call of duty, beyond the ABC ARV centric approach, which otherwise BBMPH always did. So it all started with this whole thing of the pet shops being closed and the animals not being fed. That's where I saw a stark change in the assistant directors and the joint directors. They literally went to each and every shop, went there, did a survey, prodded the owners, ensured that the pets are shifted wherever possible, daily feeding taking place and all that. So I could sense a change there. Yeah, and subsequently, of course, when all of you also said that the area of pet abandonment, the dog feeders facing some harassment, and even people who at these times have been not too supportive of dog feeding and other kinds of things, we really felt that we needed to step in, and full credit to our commissioner also for standing by whatever we have put up has really got approved at his level. So this broad circular which we put up yesterday, or rather a press note which we put, kind of brings back the focus on animals. And in this whole COVID background, at such times when, of course, we are battling the human hunger, one also needs to be compassionate enough to look at our animals which are out there, which otherwise a lot of humans used to feed them. There used to be garbage dump points where they used to feed, and suddenly they're feeling themselves all out there alone. So I think that specific support to the dog feeders is something that we were looking for, and that was the whole way this particular office order came out yesterday, which went in as a public notice also. And even in terms of provision of funding for this, very happy to convey to you that about 15 lakhs fund has been earmarked by the BBMP commissioner for procurement of certain food grains, whatever is required for the dog feeders. And that we will try to route through our ABC partners and ensure that it reaches the right dog feeders. Right. And in case something additional is required, we can always go back and ask for that once it's going to be used well.
That's absolutely fantastic. So these are, they always say sometimes through adversity, great things come. But I think this has been one of them where there has been a sort of switching on of such great compassion from your department, from your wonderful team of the deputy director. I know how much Shashi has done and has personally sort of pushed this, running around literally in these difficult times, and your team of associate directors who have been absolutely fantastic. I'm certainly going to, give a lot of credit to the animal lovers who have been on the group with you, who have been suggesting and exhorting and requesting. And a few things stand out very strongly in my memory, Randeep, and I want to share that because at the end of it, I do believe that we are people, but we are also you've got a great job to do. But there are three defining moments. One is the fact that, as a group, you've been responsive, you've shown leadership, you've shown direction, you've shown compassion over and above beyond the call of duty, and you've delivered. I remember there was a message that came in on our group which said that, dogs and pets and birds are locked up without food and water. And there's just one line that came from you, said, this cannot happen. Just fix this right now. This was not a response of a bureaucrat. This was a response of a human being. And thanks to that, we got a lot of things going. The second defining moment for me was, when you were feeding in Mahadevpura and, so many migrant laborers. And I know how heartrending this is to watch people leaving the city with no other way to go. But and that one line that came from you, when in the darkness with your team, you were sitting and, distributing food packets, and it was all of you obviously so tired and so, looking so exhausted. And while you were giving away the food packets, I could see a bunch of streeties around you. And there's one line from you which said, no, we don't forget our Indies as well. And that really, I think, if you ask me, summarizes the way that we have dealt with the BBMP in the last terrible 1 month, where the world has turned upside down. We can't get out of our houses. The dogs that depended on us, on the eateries for food, are now starving. And I know it's struck a chord with you too. So in these difficult times, not that I want to get very sentimental and emotional about it, but it's been a hard time for all of us. And without the support of the BBMP that you have shown us, which is, as I said, strong direction, showing direction and showing compassion, we really would have been struggling. There are some other and we're very happy. So I said, out of the adversity, you are now looking at creating a little bit of a feeder fund for, and this is a wonderful step in the right direction. You were telling me about another animal lover colleague of ours who had suggested that you could look at providing milk from KNMF, and you've done that as well. Please, I want you to tell us a little bit about that. And in every possible thing, whether it is on the structural side, implementation, whether it's on the compassion side, whether it's on feeding, you have been nothing but supportive. So I want to very, very unequivocally say thank you for that. And also, we know and we hope that this will continue going forward. But specifically on the circular that you released yesterday, you are aware that there's going to be a lot of things going forward. The State Animal Welfare Board, the police, the BBMP are going to be very strongly connected as far as the prevention of cruelty to animals and animal welfare is concerned. So I want to say that, the circular which has gone out in terms of protecting strays animals with food and water, the feeders themselves, very, very importantly, communicating that people cannot abandon their dogs or incite people to abandon their dogs, because that comes under an IPC, not under prevention of cruelty to animals. That statement coming out from the commissioner makes a very big impact. And while we waited for some time for it, we really appreciate, maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, if you see the very first line, I am sure you must have observed, Priya, the very first line talks about COVID not spreading through animals. Yes. I think that for BBMP to take a stand and start the very order with a line like this goes a long way. Because after a long time, we've had something which affects only humans and not animals. So I think this is the I think there is nothing to be afraid at this time to take care of our Indies and streeties. I think we need to take care of ourselves first and then ensure that we are in a position to feed the animals. Basically, we thought that let this be all comprehensive. Let it also be a message for people who do not know much about COVID. Let it be a message for the dog feeders. Let it also be a message for those who are neutral towards dogs, that what are the emotions that dog feeders go through and how they feel when somebody questions them. Also for the pet lovers who all of a sudden want to, or even thinking of abandoning. I mean, we wouldn't abandon our own parents or children, right, if they're infected with infection. So how different are pets? We need to take care of them, nurture them. If there is some precautions which we need to take in terms of distancing, keeping them away, by all means, we need to do that. But abandoning is the last thing that one would expect. And we are not really setting very good examples for our children when we are abandoning pets. I think all elders and adults should know that when a child sees us abandoning a pet, then that is not a very good message that we are sending to children, and this will in some way come back to us.
Absolutely.
So we have strengthened our order with mentioning about the IPC offences and all of that, and so that even when people are aware of this, and the police also acts in case any such complaints come, and we'll have to be strong in these times, and then that's that. So and with regarding to the milk, we expect that KMF part with a very small share of what they're otherwise doing, because we do believe our street dogs and cats also deserve it. My wife did observe a very small kitten today. She was just out to buy some medicines, and just by the pavement, she noticed this very small kitten, which is just looking all around, probably with nothing to eat or drink. So a lot of these telling examples are there. So we are doing what the best. I'm sure it's not sufficient. I'm sure there's a lot more to do, but it is a start, and it shows that BBMP has its heart in the right place, and we need to take this ahead.
Absolutely. No, the heart in the right place is what it's all about, Randeep. And I think you and I have to thank Mr. Anil Kumar as Commissioner, who has really, I know how difficult this time has been for him. So to be able to take aside time to make this circular, based on the inputs of yourself and Shashi and, Harini and myself and all of us who've been, I know we've been giving you a hard time about that, but thank you so much for taking that stance. Going forward, Randeep, I know that this is a difficult time, but we're very hopeful that in the next maybe by May 3rd, maybe we will be limping back to normalcy. What do you see going forward that we really need to do and do better? Our focus has always been on welfare, on ABC, and certainly on getting ahead, I've said this from the time you've joined, I've always felt this. I said, I really believe that we want Bangalore to be the most compassionate city as far as animal welfare is concerned. I think we're limping towards there. I really do believe we are. So what can we do with all the wonderful initiatives that you've taken in this difficult time? What is the next step forward?
So that I feel would be required first. And thereafter, I think some kind of coordination between the various other agencies like the AH department, maybe get the State Animal Welfare Board, the SPCA of Bangalore, as you also earlier mentioned, the police, who's a very important stakeholder in all of this, to have them all board and have a clear role and responsibility laid out, so that we really don't kind of keep overstepping our jurisdictions, our roles, responsibilities. That is required. I know you yourself have given me a huge roadmap that we need to follow for Bangalore. I mean, that's lying somewhere in my books. I need to probably open that up and reset the priorities. Definitely, I think this is something that we need to do. And the biggest gain in all of this is the sense of pride that is there in the officials, right from the JD Dr. Shashi Kumar to all the ADs. They feel that they're now contributing to a much larger cause than just doing probably an ABC ARP. Yes. They never really felt that they would be appreciated so much, they would be spoken about so much for doing things which were otherwise considered very routine for them.
Yes, business as usual.
So I've probably the biggest gain for me is trying to tell them that there is a lot of dignity in the work that they're doing. There are a lot of people who are going to love them for what they're doing. Even if their colleagues within BBMP do not consider them doing anything adequate, but then they have nothing to worry about, because the whole city of Bangalore is looking at them at these times of need. And being an essential service, they are one of the few departments, wings of BBMP, which are functioning at full strength today.
And absolutely. So sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So that's the major change. I think this crisis, we have learned to come out of our shell and move out of our comfort zone, and also do a lot of things which we feel have to be done.
And in terms of pushing for, which you mentioned to me before offline as well, pushing for a more animal birth control and ARV, which is anti-rabies, on a war footing, so we get all the difficulties. We're seeing so many puppies. Moving forward on, as you said, on a panel, perhaps with the police, with the State Animal Welfare Board, with the BBMP, to make sure there's a good roadmap ahead for animal welfare in the city, which is cohesive, which can be implemented. Otherwise, we can all talk in the air. And of course, the last thing, which is working towards our goal, which we are already starting to see some rich rewards of being the most compassionate city as far as animals are concerned in India. I don't believe we're too far away from that. We are setting an example right now, Randeep, with all the things that you're doing, what Bhaskar is doing, which Anil is doing, is now clearly saying that we care about animals and we are creating structures to be able to make sure that you know that we do. And for that, I say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for pushing us to do that too. I think the credit should go to all of you too.
We just partner and we're grateful. I know, and I will end with that. I know that we give you a lot of trouble and we're constantly sort of at your heels. But when things like this happen, we will always respect and appreciate the enormous efforts that are taken by you and the department. And I want to say a very big thank you to you and your department. And I want to say a quick thank you to one more person behind you with 2 little kids who hasn't seen you for a long while, and that's your wife. I hope that at the end of this, she gets to see a little bit more of you and your lovely little dogs who are sort of going between Mysore and Bangalore. I hope that they're doing well too. So take care of yourself, Randeep, and thank you for everything that you're doing from BBMP. Thank you.
Thank you, Priya. We'll stay in touch. Stay safe. Thank you.
Yes. Bye-bye.